So welcome to Talk RX. This is a special Talk RX with Dr. Neha. As you gather with family, you may notice there are what I call a family of emotions that start to stir inside you. So when I ask people how they feel in anticipation of getting together with their siblings, their parents, aunts and uncles, they say, well, it depends on which side of the family you're talking about. So the truth is that the holidays can often be a mix of emotion. And you may start off with anticipation and excitement, and then rapidly find yourself feeling unheard and disappointed by the end of a meal. Another word I hear often is dread when I ask people that question. Oh, I'm dreading getting together with family. What if my dad says something rude or inappropriate? What if my sister blurts out something I told her she wasn't supposed to say? So many unknowns with those of our closest tribe, family. So I think most of this can be eliminated as we acknowledge that everyone at their core just wants to feel heard, valued, and appreciated. What do you say? Is that important to you? So even when it doesn't seem that way, we're all looking to be loved. And the simple act of both giving and receiving appreciation can create more space for what you want in your togetherness. So the key to eliminating the defensive, that defensive strategy that might come up when you think you're being attacked is your awareness and being able to choose your attitude. So your perspective is going to make all the difference. What if you shifted this holiday to an attitude of gratitude and got back to what matters most to you? So just like your breath, gratitude is one of the most abundant, low-cost, and effective ways to shift your internal state of being and your emotions so you can get what you want. So reflecting on a list of what you're grateful for will undoubtedly shift the focus on what you don't have or are not getting to what you do have. Now, that's not always going to be enough, especially when you're sitting around the dinner table and Aunt Mary says that thing that really gets under your skin, right? And then you start to watch everybody's faces change and everyone's looking at each other. The whites of their eyeballs start getting bigger. The interesting thing about gratitude is that you need to invite it in at the very moment that it actually seems counterintuitive. Now, it's one thing to feel thankful when there's money in the bank, you're celebrating your wedding, or you've just lost your last 15 pounds. But how do you feel when your bank account's overdrawn? Your partner just left, or you just received a devastating diagnosis. Gratitude deserves a permanent seat at the table with your family of emotions because it leads you back to your heart and what's most important, and it'll give you a clue about what your next step should be. So what about setting an intention of gratitude this holiday, right? Because I did the typical thing that people do, right? Which is write 3 things I'm grateful for each day. Well, what it did really was have me looking and noticing the events and activities and people and conversations I really appreciated. So I started looking forward to that, and that reflection taught me about the milestones during my day that were sacred. So I started feeling happier and more joyful, just by expanding this perspective and recognizing my gifts. Now, this might not be enough, right? It might be the beginning, but you may say, oh, I've already done that. I want to go further. Dr. Gary Chapman wrote The 5 Love Languages, which I think is amazing because sometimes in interaction with the people we love most, it's easy to assume that we know them. And we sometimes forget to acknowledge them and hear them. So let's do a little review here. For those of you that don't know or that have seen it, let's do a review. Dr. Chapman says that there's 5 ways that people give and receive love. The first one is words of affirmation. So acknowledging through spoken word or in writing, an email, or an old-fashioned card. The second way that people feel love is by spending quality time and sharing or making time to do an experience together. The third way is gifts, monetary or, jewelry, or even of sentimental value, like a little kid picking flowers or drawing a picture and giving it to someone. The fourth way is acts of service. So doing kind deeds, making a meal for someone, taking care of them or the house or the car. And the fifth way is physical touch. And what I mean by that is a gentle hand on the shoulder, just connecting, right? So it's important to know of these different ways how you feel appreciated and valued. And I believe he has a test online as well that you, if you don't know, you should definitely answer the questions and find out which way is your way of feeling loved. So how about if we do an exercise right now? So reflect on a time when you were deeply touched by someone else's gesture. Maybe it was your best friend or a teacher or a mentor. What made this action that they took feel special? And what aspect of caring means the most to you? Next, acknowledge how other people in your life have shown their love and appreciation, even if it's not in the way that you receive. And make sure you thank them for that. And if another way would work even better, it's time to muster the courage to tell them what that is. And one of the most important things is that you, now that you know this, start to pay attention to how other people best receive and give to them in the way that they receive, not the way that you receive. And if you don't know what that is, you can make it easy on yourself and just ask. So thank you so much for listening and doing these exercises and kind of bringing your awareness to this space of gratitude for sure today, but really getting clear on how you feel gratitude and can take it in and it means something to you. So it's going to be really, really important that you understand this about yourself. And then I'd like you to choose one person that you'd like to create a stronger relationship with and pay attention to giving to them in the way that they receive. And if you do this, repeatedly, maybe once a week for a month, I'd be curious to hear how that goes for you. All right, well, thank you for listening. This is Dr. Neha, and until next week.